When I discovered self-improvement in 2022, learned about my mental health and the fact that I can actually improve it and stuff like that, I did it and it honestly went very well for a while. I came out of being depressed. I actually started to be happy again and it felt amazing. But there was this phase almost where I started to feel upset over things again. Multiple times when something happened and I would feel upset and I would go a few days not feeling my best mentally, and immediately I would genuinely start to worry if there is something wrong with my mental health. Because if you've been someone who's been through a period of time where you've really struggled with your life, especially up here, then even after you come out of it, little moments in your life when you're not quite happy, you feel like something is wrong, you're immediately going to start worrying, damn, am I going back to that old self? And the truth is, that's not the case. You got to realize that, you can be unhappy or upset about something even with your mental health being in a good place. Because you can't always be happy, right? I feel fine right now, yet something could happen. Let's say I break my phone, obviously I'm not going to be happy. That doesn't mean my mental health is ruined. Your mental health, or how good or bad your mental health is, purely something that it's based off how you feel over months and years, not just off a few days or a few weeks, because that can change very, very fast. And one thing I have learned that I've been able to utilize in my life to always keep my mental health in an overall good space is to always make sure I was getting rid of any possible thing any little thing that I was worrying about. Because whenever you worry about something, especially in the future, whatever, that's when you start disturbing yourself mentally. That's when it constantly takes up space in your head. No matter what you do, you start worrying about that one thing. And what I made sure was, no matter what, anything that I have to worry about, or I feel like I'm worrying about or thinking about too much, address that issue immediately. Don't ignore it. Most people will ignore it. They're thinking about something in a negative way, whatever, they keep thinking about it without addressing that issue. And the more you ignore it, the more it's going to take up more space in your head. You're going to be thinking about it more often, and it's going to actually cause you to be sad, upset, and it'll take away your happiness. And the one question I'd always ask myself when there is something that I worry about is it actually within my control? And if it is within my control and I can genuinely do something in that moment to fix that, I will go ahead and do it. And if it's not in my control, I will immediately push that thought off my head. Because if there's something that's not in your control that worries you, is there really any point in living your life thinking about that? There is no point, right? It's not in your control. Be honest, if it's not in your control, you can't do anything about it. But if it is in your control, go ahead and actually address it. Do the thing that you need to do to get rid of that worry. A lot of people, when they have something they keep thinking about that it's well within their control to, okay, I can actually do something to fix this issue. They will ignore it. They're just too lazy. They procrastinate, or I'm just going to push it off for later. I feel bad for myself. I can't do anything about it, when you actually can. And if that's the case, then you have no one to blame but yourself. Because you have something in your control that you can fix, and yet you choose not to do anything about it, and it's constantly bothering you, then that's your fault. Nobody else's fault. That's your fault. If it's not in your control, I would imagine it's pretty obvious to not break your head over something that isn't in your control, because you can't do anything about it. Just leave it up to God. The next time you genuinely feel, or you notice that you've gone 2-3 days or maybe even a week, you feel a bit low, you feel like, okay, this one specific thing is constantly bugging me in my head, sit down and come up with a solution to it. Make a decision. Okay, I'm not going to be thinking about this if it's not in my control. There's nothing I can do about it. Push it off. Don't even think about it. And if it is in your control, actually plan ahead. Plan, okay, what can I do to counteract the situation? I see way too many people these days, just for no reason, blindly saying I have bad mental health, I'm suffering from bad mental health. A lot of teenagers especially, it's very easy nowadays to say that oh, my mental health is in a bad place, whereas it's actually not. You're perfectly fine. You just have something that you're not too happy about, hence you're like, oh, my mental health is screwed up. It's a lot more than that. Only a handful of you actually watching this video will truly know what it's like to go through a period where you feel like existing is a pain. Anytime you experience a little inconveniences here and there, don't be labeling it as, oh, my mental health is screwed up. That's just pathetic. That is not the truth. I feel like a lot of people constantly push it in your face, oh, mental health, and you start to doubt yourself. For any little issue, you're like, oh, is my mental health screwed up? No, it's not screwed up. It's just a very trendy topic that people like to talk about nowadays. You're perfectly fine. If you're not fine, then you actually know it. I don't need to tell you, but I can guarantee you 99% of people watching this, you're perfectly fine. Just address the issue. Stop being lazy.